This is the daily prayer with destiny. Tonight's prayer is titled, Why Our Hearts Go Mourning When Your Ears Are Not Too Heavy to Hear. Creator God, we ask you to help and lead us to a life that is total, full of integrity. We ask you to make our lips and our hearts be at one with each other. And may our hearts not be bitter in times of suffering, nor in times when we are boastful, or the times when we are bragging about our success. And Creator God, in our prayers, we ask you to help us to speak to you from the very depths of our hearts. And we thank you that your ears are not too heavy to hear us. But we go on mourning. We go on whining about our situations. We go on complaining about everything that's in our lives. We go on and we complain about our finances. We complain about our relationships. We're constantly complaining about our jobs and about our spouses. We complain about our children. We complain about our health. Even though at times we seem like our health is failing us, we want to blame it on somebody else or something instead of ourselves. We complain. Even we have come to the place, many of us, where we complain about the God who we shall worship, who we shall serve. And we complain about the God of this universe, the creator of all things, the creator of life, the creator of every human being. We constantly complaining about something, mourning and crying all the time. Help us. We ask you, Creator, to teach us to stop the mourning, to stop all the complaining about these little small minor situations. Help us to focus our mind and set our hearts toward you and trust and believe in you and your word. But so many times when situations come up against us, we find ourselves back into that place of pity, mourning and crying, instead of standing and trusting and believing what your word says. We ask you to help us to stop all the complaining, to stop the mourning and the crying, and hold on to your promise, because you tells us that your hands are not too short, that you cannot save, neither are your ears too heavy, that you cannot hear. We ask you to let our life, Creator, reflect the faith that we have in you. Help us to fear nothing. And we pray about everything. And we pray that we will stand to trust you when we pray and believing that whatever that we have asked for, knowing that you have already heard our prayers and that you are able to do whatever we have asked. You said, ask and believe and we shall receive. Help us to remember those things, to remember your promises. Help us. We ask you to help us to be strong. Help us to trust in your word at all times. And then we ask you to help us to trust the process in waiting on you to answer our prayers. Help us to remember your word says that weeping may endure for a night, but it's joy, and it will come in the morning. Help us to remember that your word says that you, Creator God, will wipe away all of our tears. And that you told us that our mourning, that you can turn it into dancing again. Help us to recall your words to our mind. When the fear of this world takes over our thinking, when the ego sets up things that look so enticing that we almost be tempted to fall into, help us to remember you. When people constantly programming in us into the wrong paths and make us feel like, hey, we have to go that way, help us to stop, stand still, and know and see that the salvation, that the deliverance that we need, it comes only from you. Help us. Help us to recall every word that you ever spoken to us to mind. Help us when we find ourselves in that place of mourning, we find ourselves in that place of having our pity party, feeling sorry for ourselves, just whining about any and everything just to be heard. Just help us to remember your word, and help us to remember that you are so much bigger, so far greater than all of our little tiny little problems. And you told us, Creator God, to call on you, and you shall answer us, and that you will show us great and mighty things. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning.